or we don't want to be associated with you right now. Walking out, I passed a woman I'd worked with for 10 years. She crossed the hallway to avoid me. That's when it hit. She wasn't just trying to win. She was trying to erase me. Then the graffiti showed up. One morning I opened my garage, and there it was sprayed across the door in black. Pervert. I stood there for a long time, just looking at it. Then I sat on the step and laughed. Because if I didn't, I was going to break something. I filed a police report. They took photos, promised patrols, left. That night, I slept with a bat next to my bed. 2 days later, my son called from work. That some guy came in, asked about you, said he was a private investigator. My chest tightened. What did he ask? If you were violent, if you'd ever been arrested, if there were things my manager should know. I closed my eyes. His name was Greg Heller, Apex Investigations. Rachel was furious. That's witness intimidation, she said. And incredibly stupid. The IRS notice arrived the next week. Audit. Anonymous tip. That's when fear turned into something else. Resolve. Because when someone is willing to burn your life down to protect their lie, you don't negotiate with them. You expose them. Rachel pulled in a favor. Tracked down a former partner of Derek Langford, a man who'd lost everything in a previous project. He had emails, one in particular, from Derek to Marissa, dated months before construction started. The Cole property isn't abandoned. He's paying taxes. The claim won't hold. But if we move fast, build and sell before he notices, he'll either settle or get buried. We've done this before. I read it 3 times. They knew. Rachel leaned back in her chair and smiled slowly. Well, she said, now we own them. We filed. Not just for trespass. Not just for title. Fraud. Conspiracy. Racketeering. Marissa went quiet. Her lawyer didn't. He filed a motion to dismiss at 4:58 on a Friday. The judge hated that. Rachel knew it. That was the point. The hearing was tense. Marissa sat there in white, like she was attending a charity brunch. Smiling. Confident. Rachel dropped the email on the table. The room changed. The judge read it. Looked up. Looked at Marissa. Is this authentic? Her lawyer froze. Temporary restraining order. Cease all sales. Cease all communication. Cease all harassment. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. But she wasn't done. The night before the news story aired, someone broke into my house. Nothing stolen. Just a note on the table. Drop it or lose everything. My neighbor saw the car. Black SUV. Plate written down. Registered to Apex. I spent that night on my daughter's couch with the bat beside me, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe in the other room, and wondering how the hell my life had turned into this. Rachel called the next morning. The title company flipped, she said. They took bribes. They're cooperating. I leaned against the wall and slid down to the floor. They're done, she said. They just don't know it yet. The news segment aired that night. My face. My story. The email. The fraud. My phone didn't stop ringing. Support. Hate. Threats. Praise. Everything. In one message from an unknown number. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. I showed it to Rachel. She said, good. That means it's working. 3 days later was trial. And as I stood on those courthouse steps with cameras in my face and 40 families behind me wondering if they were about to lose their homes, I realized something. This was no longer just about my land. This was about whether money gets to decide who matters. And I wasn't backing down. Trial days have a smell. Old wood, recycled air, cheap coffee, and nerves. The kind of nerves that sit in your stomach and hum. I could feel in my teeth. The courtroom was packed. Not just lawyers and reporters, but families. Moms with strollers. Dads in work boots. A couple in their 70s holding hands like they were afraid to let go. They were the people who'd bought those houses. The people Marissa sold her dream to. And now they were here because of me. That weight, it's different. When you realize your fight is no longer private. Marissa, walking like she owned the room. Cream blazer. Perfect hair. Derek beside her, jaw tight, eyes flat. Their lawyers whispered. They didn't look at me. Rachel leaned in. Don't watch them. Watch the judge. Judge Hensley came in, glasses low on her nose, expression already tired of everyone's nonsense. She'd read the filings. She knew. Rachel stood first. Your Honor, this case is about theft, she said, calm as still water. Not theft in the dark, but theft in daylight, with contracts and smiles. She told my grandfather's story. The land, the taxes, the records. Then she told Marissa's story. The shell companies, the emails, the pattern, the bribes. She held up the email like it was radioactive. They didn't stumble. They calculated. I watched Marissa's smile thin. Derek stared at the table. Their attorney tried. He really did. He talked about misunderstandings, about complex laws, about good faith. He said adverse possession so many times I wanted to scream. Then Rachel called the title company rep. He admitted it. The payments, the pressure, the shortcuts. Then Carl from Code Enforcement testified. Then the deputy. Then my neighbor. Each piece dropped like a brick. Then Derek took the stand. He started strong, confident, controlled. Rachel didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She asked him about the email. He hedged. She asked him about prior projects. He deflected. She asked him about the bribe. He paused. Silence in a courtroom is loud. He contradicted himself. Then again. Then again. By the fourth time, even his lawyer stopped objecting. Rachel let him talk. Let him sink. By the end, his collar was dark with sweat and his hands were shaking. Marissa didn't testify. Fifth Amendment. That told everyone everything. At 4:22 p.m., Judge Hensley closed her folder. I'll issue my ruling tomorrow. We stood. The families turned to me, eyes full of fear. A woman with 2 kids clutched my arm. Please don't take our home. I swallowed. Looked at Rachel. She nodded. You're not the problem, I said. They are. And then something happened I'll never forget. Someone clapped. Then another. Then the whole room. Not for me. For Hope. Outside, reporters swarmed. Microphones. Cameras. Questions. How does it feel? Are you going to evict them? Is this about revenge? I didn't answer. I just walked. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my porch and listened to the wind and thought about my grandfather. About fences. About coffee in dented mugs. About that note. Don't let anyone take what's ours. The next morning, Rachel called at 7:11 a.m. We won, she said. I sat down. All of it. Title, damages, fees, and the court referred them for a criminal prosecution. I didn't say anything. I just breathed. Marissa lost everything. Derek was indicted. The title company lost its license. Their assets were frozen. Their world collapsed in paperwork and court dates. And suddenly, I own a neighborhood. 68 houses. 68 families. Legally, I could have sold them. Made millions. No one would have stopped me. I drove up to Pine Ridge alone. Parked at the entrance. Watched kids ride bikes. A man grill burgers. A woman plant flowers. I thought about my own kids. Their dorm rooms. Their textbooks. Their futures. And I knew. I called Rachel. I don't want their money, I said. I want their homes safe. There was a pause. Then she said, I was hoping you'd say that. We set a meeting. All the families. In the half-finished clubhouse. They came nervous. Defensive. Scared. I stood at the front, hands in my pockets. I'm not here to hurt you, I said. I'm here because someone hurt all of us. I told them the truth. About the fraud. About the ruling. About their rights. Then I told them my decision. You'll own your homes, I said, at what you already paid. No profit. No interest. We'll set up a community trust. You pay what you agreed to. That's it. A woman cried. A man covered his face. Someone whispered, thank you, like it was a prayer. One older guy walked up and hugged me. Just hugged me. Didn't say a word. I kept 5 acres. The part my grandfather loved. Built a small cabin. 2 rooms. Wood stove. Quiet. Sometimes I sit on the porch and watch the sun hit the trees, and I think about how close I came to losing everything because someone thought I was small enough to crush. And that's the part that sticks. Not the victory. Not the money. The assumption that I'd roll over. That I'd quit. That I didn't matter. So here's my question to you. If you were in my place, would you have sold those houses? Would you have taken the money? Would you have walked away? Or would you have done what I did? Tell me in the comments. I want to know, because right and legal are not always the same thing. And I promise you, this community is going to be split. And if you've ever been pushed around by a HOA, a board, a developer, a system that thought you were too small to fight back. Share your story. Because sometimes the only thing standing between a bully and the world is one stubborn person who refuses to move. And sometimes that's enough.